You're scrolling on social media, and you see this. And many of you likely did, with the story of this man with Down syndrome who miraculously fathered a child, a son. He and his wife helped this child, loved him, helped him learn, helped him grow, helped him develop. This father worked long hours at a factory to help pay for his son's tuition. And eventually this son grew up to become a doctor, specifically a dentist. And now this son helps people every day and has some time to reciprocate some of that love that his father showed him. Naturally, this story spread online. But the narrative was more about what was happening in the comment section. There was an argument taking place. On one side, there was a skeptical group of people that was pointing and saying, that's fake. The other side was saying, no, it's real, and it's incredible. Some people said it made them cry. But then that first group would point to this photo and say, that's AI generated. What did you do when you first saw this? And if tonight's your first time seeing it, think back a few moments ago. Did you believe this story because of the way it made you feel? Or did you too, like this group of people, look at this photo and think something's not quite right? Well, here's the truth. This photo is generated with AI. And that's the world we live in, a world where videos, photos, content is being faked online for attention and for engagement, and where it feels like our instincts might not be enough. I'll say this, being skeptical is not optional anymore. And if you felt that uncertainty or that doubt, that you too might fall for something that is AI generated, just know you're not alone. And you don't have to be powerless either, because there's a tool that each of you have. And if you use this tool, you can become stronger, you can become wiser, and you can become more resilient in this digital age. That tool is curiosity. Not that long ago, a video of something was pretty much proof it happened. I'm seeing a few nods in the room. You remember. We had stories, we had photos, but if you had a video to go with it, that changed everything. A video was a way of adding credibility to what you were saying. Not anymore. Those days are gone. Forever. Take a look at this. This is one of the most popular videos on the internet, so I'd be surprised if most of you hadn't seen it. Millions and millions fell for this video. Many of you did too. In fact, I'm curious, by show of hands, how many of you fell for this video when you saw it? So we have a couple people that are being honest. The rest of you are not being honest. That's okay. This video, in reality, completely fake. And there are signs. One rabbit completely disappears. The touch points where the rabbits touch the trampoline, there is some inconsistency in details that is a little bit off, and the physics don't quite match up. Take a look at this video. The most obvious sign on this video is actually the Sora watermark that normally dances around the screen. They've blurred this out, and so instead you have a blurry box dancing on screen. It's not as obvious as if they would have kept the watermark, but it is still quite obvious. There's also some AI static noise that you can see in his hair. You can see it a little bit in the scales of the rattlesnake if you look close, and also in the plants in the background. And even that rattle doesn't quite behave naturally once you notice it. This one's a little more obvious of an example. A giant snake sitting on top of the water somehow, right? No snake's ever been that big, and the segmenting of the body definitely looks off. And then the water behaves more like thickened chocolate milk than actual water. And this is a more recent example. Many of you saw this one. These two people are having a moment on a train, but they never actually look at each other. If you look closely, they look right past each other. Also, that static noise we saw in the rattlesnake video, it's present in his hair if you really look closely. There's some texture wipes in the beanie. The longer you look at her jacket, the less sense it makes. And then the person on the other side of the man that is sitting down, they're kind of holding their phone. They're sitting on a seat that would block the door of the train, so we know that seat would never be built. And then the railings on either side of the door lack consistency in terms of structure. I think you get the point. And these videos, they feel harmless. But not all videos are harmless, are they? Scams, misinformation, conspiracy theories, they spread the exact same way these videos do. So even with some of these harmless videos, it feels like we're going through some sort of digital conditioning, like they're prepping us or priming us for something. Here's the villain in your story: distraction, manipulation, and deception. They want you to click before you check. They want you to share before you pause. And they want you to believe before you ask. That's the battlefield that you're standing on and that you are standing on. We're all standing on it. We're all in this fight. Now, I don't stand here as somebody with all the answers. But in sharing and creating thousands of videos online, deep dives, debunks, clarifications, educational style content, I've come to learn something. And it's this: the people that really thrive in this digital age aren't the ones with the most facts. They're the ones who ask the best questions. Being curious, this curiosity, is not just some childlike trait or a personality quirk that nerds have. In today's world, curiosity is a survival skill. My role here is simple. I'm kind of like a guide. I'm here to give you a plan you can use, because once you have it, you'll never look at your social feed the same way again. So here's your plan. We call it the survival kit. 3 simple steps: pause, ask why, and double check. Let's start with pause. Pausing just for 10 seconds can be enough to change an outcome. You need to look for the AI signs, the tells, similar to what we did with those videos. Look for that morphing, that wiping, that glitching. Look for those inconsistencies, but also the things that should be there: the shadows, the lighting, the contrast. Look at the physics. Are they correct? Uncanny valley, that odd feeling you get. The next one is ask why. If a claim seems so certain, poke it. Ask, why is this true? Why was this made? In this context, why does this fit? And lastly, double check. If something does feel weird or off, please treat that feeling as an initial red flag and move forward from there. Run a quick sanity check. Reverse image search. Look at the sources. Look at the page that posted it. Are they credible? Ask for a second opinion. Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is usually the best one. Which means, for example, if we were to hear hooves trotting out in the lobby right now, we should assume that those hooves belong to a horse and not to a zebra or a unicorn, right? So, this is your survival kit. Pause, ask why, and double check. But I'm going to ask you to start using it today. Not tomorrow, not next week, tonight. Maybe even during your next break. If you're scrolling along and you come across something that makes you pause, try your survival kit. Pause, ask why, and double check. You don't need a PhD. You don't need endless facts at your disposal. You need curiosity. Curiosity is enough to turn the tide. But here's the beautiful thing about curiosity. It doesn't just protect you. It protects others too. When you pause, when you ask why, when you double check before engaging with or sharing something potentially harmful, you're saving dozens of people in your network, in your friend circles, or in your families from being fooled too. That's beautiful. Here's the cost if we don't. Our feeds will fill full of lies. Our trust will erode. And our children will grow up doubting everything and believing in nothing. That's what failure looks like. That's what we're trying to avoid. Not just being tricked ourselves, but living in a world where nobody can trust anybody. But think of the opposite. Think of the alternative. picture a community where being curious is normal. It's encouraged, it's expected, it's what you do. Where your friends and your loved ones, they pause because you did. Your children grow up asking better questions rather than just swallowing easy answers or taking everything at face value. This type of curiosity compounds. One question becomes two becomes 10, and pretty soon an entire community is better educated and harder to fool because of you. That's not just intellectual growth. That's ethical growth. That's resilience. That is how we win. But it's all up to you. You are the hero of your own story. So, what are you going to do? Let's go back to the beginning. Remember this? There was an important piece of context that I left out. No, don't worry, this photo is AI generated. But the story is true. A real man with Down syndrome fathered a real child. And that real child grew up to become a real doctor, specifically a dentist. And this real doctor helps real people every day. And this real father can proudly tell others, my son is a doctor. And he does. That's beautiful, isn't it? Except that because an AI-generated photo was shared with this story, rather than this real one that they could have used, many people walked away from this inspiring, amazing story assuming it was all a fake, phony hoax. Imagine if they had your survival kit. Imagine if they had paused, asked why, double-checked. Imagine if they'd looked through the sources and discovered the reality of this story. But instead, this marvelous, moving story was undermined, lessened, and even dimmed by a fake AI-generated photo. In a world where truth and falsehood travel together, being skeptical is not optional anymore. Curiosity is how we survive. It's how we grow. It's how we protect each other. So use your survival kit. Pause, ask why, and double check. And remember, the smartest people aren't the ones with the most answers. They're the ones who keep on asking better questions. Hope that helps.